Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dev Talk Show here on a Friday, uh, January 23rd of 2026. And I'm here with my co-host. Easy to speak English. I'm here with my co-host, Rich Ross. How are you doing this morning, Rich?
Doing well, Chris. How about you? It's been a little bit. Good to see you again.
Yeah, doing good. And so we, on this show, we have been working on, uh, it's kind of both taking inspiration from the pizza ordering agent that was the subject of an AI Dev Days talk, but also we want to expand on it and just keep exploring how .NET developers can do the same things that we saw in these demos.
Mm-hmm.
So to that end, if you remember that demo, there was besides building the ordering agent using Foundry, plugging into a model context protocol tool, things like that. There was also the part where he spoke the order to the agent and the agent spoke back.
Right.
And it sounds like this is what I'm learning. Rich is going to help us with today, and I can't wait to learn more about. Is there is an API called the Voice Live API that enables these kinds of interactions, right?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yeah, no, that is spot on. Let's see. You're diving right into this. So
yeah,
let's let me bring up
I was trying to see if I could find the part where they were. It's interesting that what I was hoping to do, and I was trying to run through while the intro was going, was I was saying, okay, where is that part where they were ordering the pizza?
Oh, yeah, for the video there. Okay.
Yeah. And you know,
that would be pretty cool to see. I think it was one where they had the bot or the avatar kind of person up on there.
Yes. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And so here it is here. And I'm not going to have audio.
Okay.
But let me go ahead and just show it real quick.
Yeah.
Just so that we see what we're talking about. Switch to theater mode. So if you haven't seen the Dev Days video, and I got to add to the stage. Here we go. If you haven't seen this video on Dev Days, one place you can find it is the Microsoft Developer Channel on YouTube. I also noticed that it's up on LinkedIn as well. So same thing. There's a Microsoft Developer page there. But this was the section I was referring to where this isn't what they build in this hour. Instead, they build the agent that you're going to converse with by text to essentially do everything that's happening here by voice, where we have this avatar that, it's kind of hard to see because it's so small, but it actually reads back. So for example, Gustavo Cordido, who did the demonstration, he says out loud, "My name is Gustavo." He didn't type that.
Right.
And then the agent, it prints that, but it also says, "Nice to meet you, Gustavo." And it just speaks this out. And so he was able to have this voice conversation, just like you're ordering at a speaker, like they're showing here. And then there's other neat stuff too, like this whole web page and the avatar that I think we'll get to. But one thing at a time. So I don't know if you want me to switch over to your screen.
Yeah, let's do it. Because we can bring up what it is that we're going to show, which is let me get this out of the way so that trying to navigate all of the windows on the screen so I can kind of see what I'm sharing and you and all of that. I can't see chat. That's the only thing I'm not going to be able to see because that's kind of hidden. So because of real estate. But what we're doing here is, and we can drop a link to this in the show, but this essentially is this is a quick start, and a lot of our learning documentation has quick starts in it, and this one has a number of different ways of doing it, because you can certainly do this through the through Microsoft Foundry or with different languages. And I was, as I'm one to do, go through the C# application here. So what I wanted to do was kind of run through it And as I was starting to run through it, one of the things that really kind of set me back a little bit was this, given that here we are in the beginning
Mm,
of 2026 and
yeah,
version 6 is really no longer supported.
right.
So um, kind of taking it from that perspective and coming back and saying, hey, how do we take a look at this and maybe rewrite it so it's a little bit more updated? So this really just, we'll go real quick through this. This is really just a console application. There's a number of packages that we have to install here that give us the ability to talk to the Voice Live API, give us our Azure identity, the ability to do audio inside of here, and then some of the common configuration stuff. So with all of that, and then there's also this one here that I think we need to look at a little bit, because for me that's kind of a new one, but we'll take a look at that as we go through it. We've got an app settings. I think this also we want to change, because we don't really use app settings when we're local. We kind of use user secrets. Um, which would also take care of getting rid of this piece. But then if we look at the application itself, it is it's a console app. So we've got our program CS, but everything is in our program CS. Now we could in .NET 10 make this a file run as application. Totally could do that. While I think it's a little more complex and maybe this doesn't fall into what a quick start is, I do feel that this really should be, because in here is two additional two classes. There's a class for the audio assistant, and then there is another class in here for the audio processing. So I'm thinking what we'd really want to do is, since we're doing a new console project, go ahead and break those out into the different classes. I'm curious your thoughts on that, just given some of the context of this. But
I think it's going to be really interesting with the .NET Run capability. Is I think even we saw that loading the files into the knowledge store, the vector store, seemed like, hey, this feels like a scriptable activity. Maybe we just have a quick file-based app. I think that's the official term for them, file-based app, and then .NET Run it, and you're good. But at the same time, this, it's kind of like, yeah, I get it. They're trying to say, hey, here's a sample. You get things going really quickly, but they still used a project, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because, for example,
console.
Right. They're still using a project here. They created it from scratch, and they're saying, okay, we'll use app settings to get configuration, which is fine. I even think you're set up long-term for environment variables just with what they've done in part 2 there. And so the only trick with the only thing I feel is I agree with you. I feel that a developer should go to user secrets because there's an API key. If there was anything that wasn't sensitive, then it kind of is like, well, you can use it, but you don't want to accidentally check an API key into source control, including if it's like a Git repo. It doesn't necessarily have to be an online repo, just because there's a little bit of elbow grease you would have to use to remove it. And I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I've asked these questions of folks at the online repos, whether it's GitHub or otherwise, and it's unclear whether you can really scrub it easily and not have to wait around for garbage collection, and when does that take place, and it's not very clear. And so, just don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think even to kind of where I was going with this is not using an API key and just using the default credentials, which is an option, right? Even though you have it here, as you go through and look through the code, the way they wrote it as a command, as a console application, you can have a switch in there that says use. Oh, there it is, right down there.
Yep, I see it. Yeah,
use token credential, right? So that's how I when I kind of ran through and figured out, because I've kind of already tried this out, to be fair.
Yeah, sure.
I ended up using the token credential. So really everything here is just configuration. We could, and when I was, kind of speccing this out, one of the things I did do was create a configuration class that had those pieces in it, not the API key, because that got pulled from secrets, but there's no reason this couldn't just be a class with those a static class with those configuration pieces. Maybe.
Yeah, there's going to be some interesting stuff in here as we walk through it. I'm spotting things in the packages we're adding that'll be a little fun to talk about, I think.
Okay, cool. So maybe we dive in, get started. We've got some time. We can go a little past our typical stopping point because we don't have anything till top of the next hour. So let's do this. What I'm going to do is let's so I've got a place where I keep all of our stuff that we're doing here for the Dev Talk Show, and then from here, I'm gonna. Well, I guess from here we could run that .NET command, .NET new console, right? We could call it right, and then I think if I do a -o, I can also name a folder, and it possibly would, it just with the -n, I think it might give me the folder as well. Maybe. But I'll force it that way anyway. So new console app. And just in case, you guys should be able to see that pretty good. All right. So yeah, let's just run this because that's all we need. Store succeeded. So I can now and then here's a project, and we can code into. Oops, hang on. Sorry, 1 second. I have to remember that when I'm running my dev box in a window, that many of the shortcut commands affect the entire or the host machine versus the remoted machine. So, okay.
So yeah, just .NET new console, and now we're in Visual Studio Code.
Yep. And we've got our program file, and there's nothing in there, which is fine. Yep. We're going to go ahead and take care of that. I'll get rid of Copilot. We may wind up using Copilot later on. And yeah, so the first thing, as you're going through the quick start, back to that over here, is, hey, let's go ahead and add some packages. And I kind of like to do that inside, probably the best way to do that so that we can kind of see them both is to do it here. Right. And does that opacity?
It's interesting. I was just thinking about it. Like,
I like it, but I'm kind of curious how that.
It's a little see-through. I'd be curious what the audience sees because I've definitely struggled with that quite a bit. I tend to use less just for presentations.
Yeah,
but it is a really neat feature of Terminal. So, and you've also seen. I think I have. I also have had. I have background images. So that's.
Yeah.
I picked them a long time ago. Like one represents PowerShell, one represents Azure Cloud Shell. Like I just have them sitting out there. So yeah, this is .NET add package, which you can do here, and you're going to want to be in the same folder as the CS proj. And basically what this command's just going to do, it's going to head out to NuGet. It's going to figure out the latest release, and it's going to fill this into the CS proj file. And that's basically all it does.
Right. Then, we can see the difference by going out to this here, which is our CS proj, and then definitely going to bring that in so we can see it. But you can see we've already got the one that we just added. If I go back to our command line and run the identity package.
Right. To be fair, it also is going to go ahead and do a .NET restore real quick. But if you were to type this in by hand in that item group, specifying the version, using all the features you're allowed to, then just hit the save on the file, then the C# dev kit I know does the same thing. I think it's the C# dev kit that kicks that off.
Yeah. Yeah. And do we want to do, or we're just mentioning that,
No,
right?
it's fine.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
just mentioning it just so people know that like there's a lot of flexibility, I think.
Yes. Yeah. And it's kind of whatever you're.
Oh, nice.
What was that?
You added N. That's okay.
What's package N?
I don't know, but you can go delete it in a second.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just delete it straight out of there if you wanted, right?
I could. Gosh.
So
How is that a
another
thing?
interesting place to do things is if you hit the control and the tilde,
Oh yeah. So we could do it
then
right here.
you get a terminal here that still works with Oh My Posh. I don't know if you had to struggle with getting the font settings right in here, because
Yeah.
I kind of did. Yeah, I kind of did. I wish I could remember exactly what I did so we could show the audience
Yeah,
sometime.
I still don't have it. You can tell from that there, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But it's usable.
Yes. Yeah.
I basically had to figure out what the font family was.
Yeah. And that's, even though I'm using Cascadia Cove, I think.
Yeah. Right.
And how that comes into there isn't always mentioned that way. So let's say do this.
So you're going to need configuration JSON and environment variables. So
all right, so let's think about this, because if we're not doing this, right? If I'm not going to set up an app settings and I'm just going to make this be part of a class.
Oh, okay, just to get it going.
Yeah,
it depends on your API key. If you're going to need the API key, then I don't know that you want that on screen. So
yeah, well, I would probably say so. Maybe so. All right, we have to back out and think about this for the new person coming in, how they might want to do this. So maybe we do these not as the JSON that we have here, but we do it as the user sequence, which was kind of my intention going into this. And we can include the API key because they're going to, somebody might use it, even though it's not what I'm using. If that makes sense.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. All right. So let's finish. So we don't need the JSON then. Also in here is the environment variables. And when we think about the environment variables, so it talks about setting them.
Right.
See, it's interesting that they set the environment variables, own variables.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. I agree with you. So like they say, either put it in app settings or set the environment variables, right? And I think for production, you definitely want environment variable support. So
okay, why not? I mean, because
well, you wouldn't use user secrets in a production environment.
You wouldn't, but you would pull them in off the configuration, right?
Right, but see, so
in the app settings, or if you're using an app configuration in Azure kind of thing.
So we're in a console app, and if I recall correctly, although I may not be completely right about this, the web SDK, like if you're an ASP.NET developer, ASP.NET Core developer, and you use the web SDK, I think these configurations are included in the big, I don't know if they're called meta packages. I'm trying to remember where just by including the SDK, you get extensions configuration, you get all the different forms of it, including user secrets, and you even get the ordering. Like that's all kind of done for you.
Right.
But in console, I'm pretty sure none of it is done for you. So we're basically building that up right now. That's why we have to include these packages, because in the console SDK, and I don't know if I'm saying that term right, so I apologize to the .NET team, but we're using that. And what I mean by that package is if you go back to the CS proj file that you currently have, up at the top, project SDK equals Microsoft.NET.SDK. It does not say, it does not .web.
Right.
So it's way back at the beginning of .NET Core, there was the mountain of packages that were in your project. And what they did is they came up with this concept, and I can't remember if they're called meta packages, that collapses that down and says by specifying what you've specified,
right,
you get a set. And if you're in Visual Studio, you can actually click on the Solution Explorer and see what that list is.
Right. And see all the subpackages.
And if I recall correctly, the reason why we're going through this exercise with configuration is that console apps don't start with that layering and that cascaded ordering, but web apps do.
Okay.
And man, if I'm wrong about that, I apologize, but let us know in the comments about it.
Yeah.
But so yeah, this is not a futile exercise. You're basically defining right now by pulling in packages what support you want for configuration, and maybe you don't want environment variables because we're just tooling around.
Yeah.
So we could get user secrets in there, and the way to do that is you're going to want to install the Microsoft Extensions configuration user secrets package, which is not it's configuration.user secrets still, but it's that's not in the list from the
no,
the quick start.
That's one of the things that we want to maybe update and change. So okay.
Right. So when you hit that, that's going to come in, and then that reference is already there. So now the trick is adding secrets, which in Visual Studio is you right click on the project and click manage user secrets. I don't know if the C# dev kit has that same support. It might. Otherwise, there's a .NET command to do it. Oh yeah, there is. Okay, cool. So when you click that, it's not gonna. There's no secret in there yet, but I think we'll still show some stuff that's useful.
Yep. And then down here is the other way you would do it, right? With secrets init, and you would do it through the command line.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think this is both going to do the same thing.
Okay, cool.
So when you click there, it should throw something into the CS proj. And that CS proj is going to now have that GUID. Oh, it's not there. Interesting.
Not yet. Well, probably because this file. Interesting. I mean, it's here. Here's the GUID.
Right. Oh, wait a second. Look at the CS proj file is not in your project either. I'm sorry. The package is in the project.
Oh, that's interesting. Overwrite. Let's do that because I guess it was. Okay.
I'm not sure if we accidentally just removed support.
All right. So let's close that and let's try that again.
Yeah.
So if I click on a proj file, I get the manage user secrets as an option.
Yeah. Except I don't even see the support in your project right now. Even though you added the package, I don't see the package.
Oh,
okay. But the user secrets ID is in.
It is now.
That's good.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised I don't know what happened to the package there.
There we go.
There we go. All right.
I think it was because it was in an unsaved state.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they got confused. There were two different versions. So, okay. So this is cool. So now we're all kind of synced back up.
Yep.
All right. And if we go back to here, we could do console logging because that's probably good to essentially keep included. So we'll do that.
Yeah, extensions.logging.console. It's extensions.logging.console.
Everything's an extension. Cool.
Okay, and then you still need N audio.
Oh, thank you. Not just N.
Yep. And N audio, it's a capital A, but I don't know if that's going to matter.
Yeah, just in case.
And then the last thing that they include is system.command line, and they're including a beta version, but I don't know if you need. I mean, I think that's out of beta. And considering the .NET 6 targeting on here, I wonder if it's old enough that you don't need to worry about the beta part.
Yeah, let's do. So I thought that too. Command line. Cool. So here's the exact match. So let's go ahead and open that one up. Now, there is the
beta force from 2022, which makes sense considering the .NET 6 timeline.
Requirement, right? So that's this guy down here. But what we're doing is this up here.
Right.
And we could, so I know this. So I know the end of the story. We can try and bring that in, but I will tell you that the things that are added are not.
There's breaking changes, maybe.
They break, yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah. All right. Well, I mean, a possible upgrade to the documentation would be to figure out the breaking changes sometime, right?
Right. And I think part of it is if we look at why they're doing that, they've got this, this that provides this thing called the root command. And then what that's doing is essentially bringing in these options.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But we don't do it this way, right? We kind of, all of those things are all of those properties are properties that we're setting either in the configuration or in the user settings. So why would we?
Oh, I mean, if you don't need the command line at all,
that's
for our samples, then that makes sense.
Okay.
Like you said, is they're trying to create a sample. It seems to be robust enough for you to go command line, API key, or you could use the credential, or you could use the app settings. So, or you could use environment variables. So maybe in some respects, it's distracting from what we're trying to do.
Yes, this should be a quick start. It's like, here, do this. I'm new. Which decision is the right one for me? And we have enough. I don't know. I go through this. I have enough problem, which is without when I'm given those kind of options, which is the right way to do it for where I'm going. So
okay, that's a reasonable point.
So a lot of this in here is going to go.
We're going to skip. Yeah, we're going to skip a lot of it just to make it work and still.
And we're going to rewrite some of this as well. So okay, cool. Okay, so not going to include the command line bit. We're going to kind of work around it, which is fine. So if we look at, we've done all the extensions. What we have is essentially right now our empty program file. We don't have to worry about the app settings because we're not using that. And we're just going to copy this. We're going to come over here, do this to our program CS. Close that window. And
okay, so they
go ahead.
They paste in a whole lot of stuff. So this will be interesting to see what we're removing here.
Yeah. And we could certainly, so here's my thought. We could certainly ask Copilot to go ahead and spurt some of those things out. But I think it's kind of important for us to kind of run through this and do this on our own. That's my thoughts. Okay.
Yep.
So you could, create an issue, have Copilot go do it as an agent, do it in the background, whatever. Let's kind of do this old school and let's get, do some of these things manually. So let's focus on the first thing. Let's find that next class that's in here. And that's this basic voice assistant app. So this actually is the piece that does the work of making the connections and implementing that voice live capabilities, right? So it's what understands that, hey, we're starting to do that turn. And if you're doing any kind of conversational applications or like with a chat bot or something like that, we always talk about a turn. What is the user put in and what is the chatting agent, the bot, the LLM, whatever it is, what does that send or what does that send back? That round trip is called the turn. So go ahead, sorry.
No, that's cool. I just learning.
And then there are things that we can do once as part of the to augment the turn, and we'll might have to talk about that in the future one. But the idea is that when the audio comes in, there is the ability to intercept some of the information and check out what was, what did that speech get converted to from a text perspective? Does that lead to, because this is, has some of the agent capabilities inside of here, we could use that to call a tool and understand that, hey, we're going to go off in a different direction. So think of a voice, what we call an IVRS system, right? A voice menuing where I can say, hey, tell me about my account balance. And it's like, oh, he mentioned account balance. I've got a tool that does that, right? And we can handle all that in code here. Not that we're doing any of that here now. This is a very basic assistant that basically is taking audio and answering questions based off of the knowledge that it's aware of. And then you mentioned or showed that that avatar bit. You know, we actually
Yeah.
have the ability here in Voice Live, which is probably what Gustavo was using under the covers there for that application. So this is so this being a quick start, it's meant to be to show how to connect to the Voice Live service, start to intercept some of those events, and then you can use this to kind of build upon and do other things with. Which I do have some ideas around that as well. So what I'm going to do is I go here, do this. That kind of gets us all of the information that is in this class. I'm going to take this and go this way and include the summary. We'll do a copy. I'll do Control-Shift-P and create a new file. Don't worry about all this. Control-A, paste. Right, these are all events. Cool. Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, just have to save it. I don't know where it's got you saving it right now.
Well, that's so if I do a save, it's going to want to
yeah, there we go.
It's in the right folder, but we've got to name it. So this is our basic voice assistant.cs. Okay. So that's one. If I go back to here, I can actually delete this.
Now, for this next one, if you're going to move the audio processor, does the C# Dev Kit help you with this? So if you just like clicked on line 289.
Okay.
Okay. You didn't get a little idea button.
There's a refactor. That would be, I did not get the little.
Yeah. Because in Visual Studio, you would get that. It would be like, hey, do you want to move this out?
Yeah.
So that's okay.
But there is if I go here, there is where did I just see it? Refactor.
Yeah. I don't think it's quite the same thing.
Nope. It's not going to let me do it.
Okay. No problem. I just wondered.
Nah, it's good to explore those. Sure.
So I'm going to answer a couple questions while you're going. So we have this question that asks where this can be implemented. And so I'm going to try to answer that question. I apologize if I didn't totally understand it. What we're doing is we are following basically an example of speech-to-speech situations, right? We've had a lot of speech-to-text or text-to-speech. If you use, any kind of, nowadays, I think they all do it on your phone or with Copilot, where you can just talk to it and it'll transcribe your speech into text and then submit it, and then you'll get your answer back. But we're heading towards a scenario, which won't all be completed in one day, but we're heading towards a scenario of being able to use our voice to talk, and then we'll hear back the answers from an agent that's going to be built based on the PizzaBot sample from AI Dev Days in December. So this quick start is not us implementing it. So to answer the question about how long this took is not really accurate, because we are learning from code that already exists. But I think what we'll learn on the show is how much is when we integrate it, like what is that effort going to be? So Voice Live API is part of the speech service, like overall, I think.
So it is. So yeah, just a bit of clarification, because there certainly is this. There's an Azure AI service that is speech.
Oh, okay.
And what that will do is speech to text. And taking a step back, right? We could do this before we were doing our large language models, generative AI. We had those services that could take speech coming in, convert it to text, send that text over to a bot, let the bot churn on that text, send that back to the speech service as well to translate it from text to speech, and send that back down to the client. That's a couple of different hops that we're not taking here, because what we're doing is we're basically saying there is a model And if I go into,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Is instead of you implementing on your own speech to text and then submitting it, which is probably, when you really stop to think about it, like, this probably isn't a totally accurate statement, but it's like you're doubling up on your token needs just to go from speech to text and then to submit to your LLM. And here, I think one of the benefits of this service, Voice Live API, is that the speech to speech experience, it's probably not fair to say that it hops over it. It just uses tokens for itself, but it's a single operation instead of two.
right.
Yeah.
And the details here are not the details I thought we were going to be seeing. So if I go back to Discover and Models and do real time, you can see that there's a number of different options. We went with the real time mini, and then in here we can read about those kind of capabilities, like what it could basically do. So that's yeah. So that's the important bit. We're talking to a Foundry model and not an AI service, which is
Right.
a different modality.
Yeah. So
Cool.
right now, what we're doing in Visual Studio Code is we have taken the quick start that was linked. It's linked in the chat, and I think I was either in the quick start's also in the show notes. Now, if you joined us early, I added them about 10 minutes in, so you might have to refresh. But the point is that what we're really doing right now is moving around the code to make it a little bit more, look a little bit more like we in C# .NET developers would do. Is most likely we would have different files for different classes. There are some private methods that I think are part of the program class here. Maybe there's some refactoring that could be done later there, who knows. But some of the things that I think have to go is, I don't think you need the create root command, but we'll have to double check that deleting all of this doesn't, I don't think it does. I think it just basically goes through and says, okay, I'm gathering up these options. And then maybe at the end, maybe there's somewhere where it sets the same variables that we're going to use.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to call into the same method, so we can start pulling some of this stuff out.
Right.
Yeah, so we can take a look at that here. So if we do, and maybe we clean up the program so it's not, it's more. There's a term for it, right? We don't have the namespace there. We don't have the.
Like the file-based namespace and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So at least for right now, so let's focus on this part here. So if we look at what's in the root command, we're not going to use any of this, but I can't just delete that whole method because everything kind of runs from here.
Okay.
So let's do this. I know we don't need these things. We talked about not using the options or doing those kind of configurations. The exception is probably that use token credential, but there's a different way that we can essentially look for that.
Okay.
So we can essentially remove all of those. Removing all of those means that we can also remove all of this.
Right. And all of this code that you're removing is essentially using the system command line package to gather up what you may have put on the command line. But the keyword is may have.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't pull it from there, then I don't remember seeing another spot that it was pulled from configuration, but that's okay. I think we'll have to come across that. So maybe it was a little earlier in the code, but that's okay. We'll come across it. I don't want to distract you.
Right. So this is all that's left of that root command. And because of that, it's actually setting this, basically providing a handler to await out this capability. This is where the real functioning happens. This run voice assistant.
Yeah. Right.
And that's where all this stuff is. So because of that, we don't really need any of this anymore, but we do need to make sure that we have a way of calling this. So we'll kind of move that call back up into the main area here.
Yep.
So so we don't need this.
Yep. but instead we're not going to be awaiting invoke async because I'm sorry, we're not going to be awaiting the root commands of invoke async because it was turning around and awaiting run voice assistant async. And in fact, it seemed, I don't know if it's correct, but it looks like Copilot is trying to help you out and say, yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, it kind of is.
But maybe it's not correct, so I don't want to.
Yeah, let's go ahead and throw that in there. So at least we can do that as a way of getting started, know what we need, right? Some of this we're going to want to replace, right? Because we're going to want to pull those things out of the user secrets, which is where we currently have them. So let's kind of say where we are. This is not a Git repo, so we haven't done anything like that. But what we want to do is basically get the configurations out of the user secrets, right? So we want to do configuration builder. Okay, that's a good start. We're not using environment variables, so we can toss that. What we are using though is we're not using that. What we are using is add user secrets program. So that would basically give us our configuration builder that would essentially have our configuration object. Okay. And then, okay, that's fine. That makes sense. So now we have a configuration that we can use. And what I want to do is create.
So I think one thing we still might have to do.
Yeah.
Is in run voice assistant async.
Yeah.
Which is just a little further down. Is that seems to be where it's pulling configuration unless you've removed that.
That is where it's pulling configuration.
Oh, so, okay. But you needed a config builder. Oh, well, they actually create a config builder, huh? I think you'd have to scroll down a little bit to see this. So see, they
did that.
When you run this method, they go ahead and start. They go ahead and say, well, let's just start. Let's just grab the config now. The thing is, though, is I don't believe you have added support for JSON file or add environment variables. So I wonder why that's not red squiggly.
Because that's the code that got copied in.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why it hasn't been picked up as a red squiggly, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, how does it not? How is it? Why does it think that's okay? I mean, when you compile it, you'll find out.
Right.
And
I mean,
so,
I think build now would probably do that. So here's my thought. Instead of having the configuration down in the method, you would typically do.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this so then? So based on what they have here, configuration is their configuration is a configuration builder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see, and then they build at the end. Okay.
Yep.
Now I get it. So we could do.
You could do the same thing. You could just dot build at the end of that if the only one you plan on keeping is the user secrets, which is fine. So now you're done, and now you could start pulling config.
Right. And would you? So here's the thing: would you? And is this overkill to do? I was going to create a class that was our configuration, and for a quick start, maybe that's overkill, and maybe we just basically say config from the user secrets with the value that we have in there, and make that what we use.
Maybe to see it work, we just go ahead and grab the config. But I agree that it's an interesting. I think it's an interesting refactor that, again, if we're talking about submitting this back to documentation,
right?
Then,
and keeping this a quick start, not a tutorial.
Yeah. So you need your API key, which, if you're going to follow the same structure that they used up above, then we have the inspiration a little bit. Yeah, in fact, that's it.
Yep. And and there's all these too.
Okay, now let's see what they did
I
here.
love that VS Code does that. I realize, well, you're going to do this one. You probably want to do these the same way. Now, we don't need this optional whatever at the end.
Right, because I think your intention here is if you didn't supply it, you're going to have trouble.
Yep.
Where when you look at how they did it in the quick start, and the funny thing about it is I'm not sure this is the way .NET developers would go about this. Maybe. First of all, building the configuration, if you want it to be something you could go change without restarting the app, but that doesn't make sense because this console app just runs once.
Yep.
It just doesn't seem like the place you would do it. Now, second, they have an interesting thing where they grab the API key from configuration, and if it's not there, which means that it wasn't found either in app settings JSON or in environment variables, then they go get it from a different environment variable.
Yeah, when you look at what's down here,
right? But this has always been an interesting point to me because I think there's been some debate in the community about like the people in production probably want an environment variable that looks more like the thing on the right. Whereas in .NET configuration, in order to recreate the hierarchical nature of VoiceLive : API key, I think you end up having to do by default double underscore.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I think that's an interesting discussion is what is it that you would want? So that's an interesting thing to keep in mind is maybe for purposes of app settings, you still would continue on this way. But you know what? We're not trying to be super fans. We just want to see this work. So
right. And just a little spin on that, right? If certainly, and then maybe I've done a little bit of other languages, and in other languages they do the .env file. Right?
Yeah, right.
That's accepted. We don't really have that over here in this .NET space.
Yeah, I mean, there's a NuGet package that supports it that I've been interested in, like trying to bring in more often. And then also, it's actually not that much code, frankly. So I've even seen some blog posts that say, like, you know what? I just have this class that I paste into every app, and I just put it in my program CS, and it just reads out of the .env file. And I go, okay,
yeah,
I got it. I think if you're going to do a quick start, I would probably stick with what's in the box, which means user secrets and or app settings, things like that.
Right.
But
that's what this developer's going to know. Otherwise,
right.
Different language.
Right. Otherwise, we're sending them off to third-party things that it's like, well, wait, what? I don't understand. Why do I need this?
Right. That was that was kind of as I felt with that command line thing. Same way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All so right, you don't need any of the code from 93 up to 82, right?
Yep.
Right. So that's going away. We're going to pass it all in. We are going to say that, are we always using token credential? So true.
Yeah.
And then the rest is coming from your user secrets, I suppose.
API key. That is interesting. So
unless you're planning to put the API key in, then it'll work.
It'll work.
Yeah.
But we could, okay, I don't disagree, but we could have an arg here that we could look for and use that to set this value.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what they were going against. So, so we do have the args.
I suppose it's just like, if you want it to be anywhere in the command line, then I suppose you could do args contains or something. Essentially.
Okay. And then they've already swapped that down into here. Well, we'll take care of that. There we go. We might clean that up a little bit, but that's at least would get us going.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. So you still have to make the user secrets file.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna cheat.
Okay.
So
now, do I need to take you off screen or
no? Because what I'm gonna do is this. This is the one that I built earlier,
Oh, okay.
and it's got a secret.
Yep. So that's already
Right. So
you've already got that file out there.
yeah, that file exists, and I can basically reuse that file because all that is a pointer to some location not in your code base to go
Right.
ahead and store that information. So if I basically take this here and replace this with that,
Yep. You're done.
now I'm pointing to those secrets that have already been stored.
That's right.
I thought that was fun, but okay. All right, program. Is that we would not do that in the description in the quick start, but that's just a way for us to kind of get this running without.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're going off screen and figuring out and putting stuff in. And what we can do though is if you still have the documentation open for the quick start, then just real quick we could say, okay, so here's what we're putting in. We're putting in their example, you could put in the API key, but I guess you don't have to if you said use token credential.
Right.
And token credential, to be clear, is going to start off by saying, well, are you logged into the Azure CLI?
Yep.
If you are, we're going to go with that.
Yep.
You got to have your endpoint, and that endpoint is the Foundry project. Is that, or the Foundry endpoint?
Yes.
Okay.
For here, so where our real-time API was deployed to. So if we go to models, it's basically, sorry, those models.
Well, the project's sitting up there in the upper left. So it's and if you were to, you can basically get that project endpoint is what you needed.
Yeah.
Model is an interesting one because you have to put, this is where I think some confusion can happen. You're looking for the name of the model, which very, very, very often, especially I think when you're new to this, is going to be the same. It's going to be a string that matches the model's, I want to use the word name. So look at all of your models here. GPT-5 chat is the name of the model, but the model that it's using is GPT-5 chat. And you're all the way down the board the same, but that doesn't have to be that way, right?
It doesn't have to be. Look at this one. The model.
Yes, there you go.
And since I put a second one up there, I had to change the name.
For whatever model you want to use, it is the value on the left that we're interested in.
Yeah.
So if you named it pizza chat real-time voice, or I don't know why you would do that, but let's say you did, that's what goes into your code, not the type of model.
Right, because what it's looking for the deployment.
Yep.
And I think we typically call that the deployment name as well in some of the documentation, because it does. I don't care what model you're running. I just want to know what this deployment is that I'm looking for, because that's the connection. Okay.
Yep. That's something that I found could be confusing, especially as you play with this more and more, and maybe your model name doesn't match up, and you're like, oh, I don't know, I don't understand what's going on. So, okay. And then I don't remember what else was in that file. There was the voice, the voice parameter. I'm not sure what that was there. So yeah. Where does that come from?
So that comes from looking up, let's see. That's a good question. Voice live, voice options.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's a good question. Let me see if that's it. Improve this. There's input.
Oh, here we go. Voice.
Yeah, so this is what it is here. It's essentially a custom voice.
Oh, okay.
And you can there are many voices to choose from. So you pick the one that you want. By default, they're saying, "Hey, let's go ahead and just give you the Ava Dragon HD latest neural."
Okay, cool.
But you could define whatever one you want.
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll see why that's important in a minute. Cool.
All right. So maybe we're here. Maybe we're there.
I feel like we're here.
Okay. We're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out. So I'm just gonna do a we're in the right space. Okay. So let's do a .NET build. 23 errors. What?
Is this your current one or you? Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, this is the TDTS
So
one.
let's see what they're thinking about here. Maybe just some name spacing it's going to be. Let's find out.
So our audio processor is not sitting inside of a namespace.
Well, I think it's maybe the usings didn't come over, right? Because we didn't map what they were.
Oh, right.
So let's see. Let's see if we can figure out what they were. Or does it help you if you go to the error? Does it help you try to add the using statement? Because sometimes it does.
Yeah, it's just saying it's missing a directive.
Well, I mean, here, is it red at all? No, not really.
No,
Session update didn't come out red or anything. That's weird. Interesting.
it is.
Okay.
Let me do
All
that.
right.
I honestly, you know how sometimes closing things might help. That's fine. All right. Just do this and come back. Maybe.
I think the other thing you could do is you could grab the using statements from
Program.
Yeah, from program. It's, you know, you're not going to need all of them, but
True. Although there we go.
although it's starting to figure it out. So now see, yeah, it's starting to figure it out now. So it just depends on what you think is quicker.
Well, quicker is certainly going to be paste. And then you can see the ones that it likes and the ones that it needs. So we could clean up. Can I do? I guess we don't have that over here where it's just get rid of unused usings.
You could. The other thing that I think might be interesting here is I'm wondering if there were some, if unfortunately because of the way they built this,
yeah,
that you still might maybe have some global variables from program.
Oh,
but
okay.
But I think you'll find that out in a second.
Not all code paths lead to blah, blah, blah.
So we're awaiting run voice assistant async and then
return wait also. I mean, is it a?
I think you can just return. I don't know that you have to return anything specific. Return 0 might be fine.
Oh. Let's see.
Like right after you run voice assistant async, returning 0 might be okay. Because I'm looking at what they did. They returned the root command, but I think that's part and parcel of how you use the command line options.
Gotcha.
So I don't know that it's that important. Of course, it's complaining because we are async, but you're going to need to remain async though.
Because of that.
Yeah. Okay. So what you do is head down there and do like a return. Like you could do like task from result, task.from result. Well, you're going to have to return this, but it's okay. Go ahead. And then put it, 0 is going to be the parameter. You're basically saying, make me a quick task that's completed. And then now you await that. Actually, I'm sorry. You don't have to await it. I'm surprised. Why can't you return that? It's an async method. No, not completed task. It's got to be from result. Yeah.
And then 0?
Yeah. The problem is I don't remember when you... Oh, so what you do is if you go up now, I think at this point, we are awaiting this. You can't just return 0 here. Oh, because it wants a task.
Right. I mean, it's something like, because we're returning 0.
Yeah. But still interesting. Actually, just return 0 now.
Oh.
Yeah. Now that it's an async, yeah, now you can just return 0 and it'll do that for you. Okay, sorry. I was mixing that up with a different scenario where you have a method that's async in an interface, but your method is not going to be async.
Oh, okay.
Then you still need to return a task. You still have to, but since your method isn't async, you do task from result. So I crossed those streams a little bit there. Sorry for people watching.
All good. And then these are in the state they are in because they're not null, potentially could be.
Yeah, it doesn't know. It's like maybe they're null, maybe they're not.
Right. All right. So let's go ahead and try and build again.
Right.
So a bunch of warnings. Okay, we can clean this up later.
Sure. Okay.
And actually, they're all reporting to the things that we were talking about. So
right.
Being null. Cool. So .NET run -- use token. Parameter cannot be null. Voice. Oh.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. So can you take me off screen for a second?
Yeah. Give me a second to do that. So basically it's the wrong, I'm going to guess that whatever's in your secrets file is not the correct one. So we get a nice comment here. Hi, nice, but I was waiting for pizza. Yeah, we're heading there. We want you to be able to order pizza just the way they did in the demo. But it turns out that we are learning the .NET SDKs to do all the things that Gustavo and I think, I don't know the gentleman that is the avatar for that, but I believe his name is Hank, and I see him very active in a lot of these SDK repos. So I'd like to get to know him. I think it's cool. But yeah.
So you can come back to me on screen. I was pretty sure that was going to be okay, but I wanted to double check. So what I did was I just did a .NET user secrets list. So that shows everything in my .NET secrets. You can see here that we have nothing for the API key. So that's why I'm fine showing you.
Okay.
But because I built that configuration object, I did not store voice. Voice is a thing here. So
for this API key, do you need to be off screen?
No, because we're not going to do the API key. We're doing the credentials.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
That's cool. All good, man. So we do this, and then this here. So here we get to see how you would go ahead and add a secret. Copy.
Yeah, we've definitely doxed our user secrets. At least I have many times on this show. And so I tend to try to put everything into a resource group so that as soon as the show ends, I can run and just burn that resource group down. Just be like, okay, somebody might watch this video and say oh, I'm going to use all that stuff. And it's like, well, I can't.
Too late. That's why you got to watch live, folks.
If you want to spend my Azure, if you want to run up my Azure bill, then watch live. Is that what we're saying?
I think that's what we're saying. So the other thing that I know is not in there is the instructions. And part of that was thinking, well, I would probably want to have that be a little more.
You had a rogue. Yeah, you had a rogue quote at the front, but sure. Okay. You wanted to maybe work on the instructions more. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. It's all right.
Not have to do it through secrets. So that was the thought. So now both of those are in there. We should be fine. Awesome. All right, let's try this again. So let's get to actually There we go. All right. Fingers crossed now. Okay. Let's see what happens.
Maybe you're logged into the CLI. Maybe not.
It should be. There we go. Voice assistant's ready.
Well, what's cool is, so maybe I need to share this with people, is I came up with an Oh My Posh. I did a tweak to it because Oh My Posh has I don't remember what they're called, modules, or that's for the Azure CLI. It has it, but I came up with a little tweak where it actually shows you you could be logged. Oh, maybe I should stop talking.
So pause for a second and we'll go back and look at this. So, hey, help me understand voice assistant. How can you help me?
Sure. I can help in a lot of ways, whether you need assistance with technical details, explanations of concepts, guidance on
That's
tools
great.
like...
Can you reply in French?
Bien sûr. D'accord.
Oh, please continue and tell me what you can do, but in French.
Bien sûr. Super. N'hésitez pas à me dire par où vous souhaitez commencer et je vous guiderai pas à pas.
That is awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. If you have any more questions or need further help, just let me know. I'm here to assist you.
Awesome. So I'm going to stop that. And part of it is we're doing this remotely on my dev box. So there is some little bit of, you can hear some clipping and things happening. But what was interesting was, and I could, as you were talking, Chris, what was happening is we were getting this.
Right.
And she was trying to respond and trying to interact with you, but you kept talking, which is fine. That's so how does it know to do this? Which I think is a pretty cool thing to take a quick look at, in that, and I can't remember, it should be in the voice assist. I think it's called no, not interrupt. Let's see here. Essentially, there's a setting inside of here. Maybe it's called break-in. I think that's it.
Well, so certainly this switch statement here maybe is really important, because it looks like it's saying here, it must be sending, I don't exactly know how this looks, but it's sending some kind of information, like, so the clear any streaming audio still in transit. Okay, fine.
Yeah. So let's go back up to the beginning here. We can kind of walk through this, because I think you're right. So it's handling
server event. Here we go.
Yeah. So it's handling this. The session got created, and this is where it's going to loop through as it's doing this. So we start the audio capture once the session's ready, and it's going to buffer that speech. So if you wanted to, you could actually save that buffered speech off and be able to essentially have a recording of this as you're going through it. The audio processor is also really important here, because I believe that is where, we would take a look at that too. That may be where the understanding if I'm trying to break into where that I'm trying to interrupt, because that's a setting that you can certainly play with and be able to say, well, it seems like based on what we're doing here, it's a little short. So maybe we would kind of increase that and be able to have a little longer pause before it starts to before it basically stops talking to you. Oh, here we go.
The audio, the audio processor doesn't come with the VoiceLive API. So basically, if I wanted to get really, really, really basic about this, I could just submit like a WAV file, or whatever the data is in a WAV file.
Yeah.
I could send that off to VoiceLive API, and it would say, okay, here's your response.
Yeah.
So we've gotten some help from audio processor, which was not in the API. And then this basic voice assistant it seems to me this is API driven. It's handling the server events.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. So this would, it's only attempt cancellation clearing if it's active and cancelable, right? So this would be should be where we're able to modify those values.
Like
But I don't
user
see it
stop
anymore.
speaking, assistant response crafted. Yeah. I mean, I saw it when it was running. I
Yeah.
could see it logging this out, which was pretty cool.
Hmm.
What might be interesting, you're right that going through this code in itself is a learning experience, but
Yeah.
because there's something special to how, I don't want to say special, but it seems to me that the quick start's great. It gets you moving. But
Right.
now the next step for a developer would be to understand, like, how do I want this flow chart to go
Right.
of this event should lead to this outcome, and then another event comes and you're going to want to work through it. And so this little basic processor, which really wasn't like a ton of code, it's not, it's not 20 lines, but it's all here and compact in one file, handled that. I wonder if it can hear me, or if it's like,
Yeah.
no, it's way too much going over. I'd be curious. I don't know.
It seemed to be hearing you because I wasn't saying anything.
Okay.
You kept getting the break-in bit. So you could
And this
certainly-
model is just a generic ask it questions type model, right?
Exactly. It doesn't know any context.
Okay.
And that's what I'm trying to there is I thought it was in the voice assistant bit where we had, a configuration that is how we initially set. Well, so where the voice and the model instructions. What I'm looking for is there should be our ability to define the tool. And I think that's, hang on, Voice Live client. If I go to here, pretty sure. Credential. No, I'll have to come back to. I know in running through this, so
Okay.
you can
Yeah.
essentially create the tool. So what I've done in the past is to be able to say, and we talked about this at the beginning, right? Hey, tell me
Yep.
about my account balance because you know about those kind of things, and
Right.
you intercept that. And one of the events is, hey, there's we've noticed that this tool would be appropriate, and then we go down that code path, figure out what the response is out of that code path, send that back down the same channel to go ahead and translate that output into speech. So if I say, hey, I want to order a pizza, now it's going to go down the path of saying, that's awesome. What kind of pizza you want, what size, what toppings, and have that interaction happen.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's going to be a next step for sure. So
yeah. And already
I'm
it was
just-
9 o'clock. Where'd the time go?
yeah, I know. So let me, I'm going to move us back. I mean, I think if I can, I'll move us back off stage here, or at least
you go.
just us, because
I think it makes sense.
it is 9 o'clock. We went a little bit longer this morning, but, and it was a slow burn. We implemented it and then removed code that wasn't necessary just for a quick start. And then, but finally we got through those hurdles, and that was a pretty cool interaction, because it wouldn't have even occurred to me to ask it a question and then say, well, answer me in a different language. And it seemed to hold on to that context a little bit. So I don't know if it was creating a conversation or a thread.
It's
maybe.
definitely creating a thread in there.
Yeah.
So you're able to, there's a minimum. So the text that gets created winds up being, kind of packaged and sent back as part of the prompt with the information there. So while the current speech might get translated to text, there's all that rest of that text package, as opposed to sending all of the audio transcript back up, right? You don't want to do that.
Right.
You've already converted it. Just send it as text because it's much more lightweight.
Okay. So obviously the next question is, can we share this code? And technically you could say, well, it's already shared in the quick start, but your slimmed down version does have some value.
Yep. And
so
yep, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know if we want to create a repo and say, here's a slimmed down version of the quick start.
Yeah, I mean, we can certainly do that. Part of the long-term plan is to put this new C# version into into this Learn documentation. I just pasted the link to it in the chat for folks who might be still watching, and I think you also have it in the description too. So
yeah, it's in the description of the video. And basically, I think what we're going to do now is whoever manages this documentation is say, look, we got an idea for an update, because this is more than a simple update. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just saying, hey, you got to go from 6 to 10.
Yeah.
I think it's also saying, what would you think about slimming this down in various ways?
Right.
So, or like you said, I mean, it's a quick start. So having all the code in one file maybe makes sense, but that's a little bit of a conversation with whoever owns that document. But I think that it could be pretty valuable. So
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
fun to
that
go
was
through
really
that.
neat.
I think we're not finished. There's some cool things we can
Oh, yeah.
look at again. But yeah.
Right. But eventually we're heading towards where, we want to, even though that AI Dev Days talk only does a small part of the whole operation, we feel like it should be possible to re-implement the whole thing
Mhm.
in .NET SDKs,
Yes.
various .NET SDKs, Foundry and this SDK here and the Avatar one and Blazor. So there's a lot. There's a lot to work through. But
Yeah.
hey, like I said, a little past 9 o'clock, so got to run towards stand-up meetings, and this was really fun. When it all started working, and I didn't mean to keep interrupting it, I was like, "Oh wait, it's doing it! I need to stop. I need to shut up."
No, this is, and you can tell from Ajmal's comments there. Yeah, there's a lot of. It's pretty cool when you see it work. So give the quick start a try, even with what's out there.
Right. It'll
and
run as
we
is.
talk
Like,
about
you don't
here.
have to do what we did.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Cool. Thanks,
Well,
Chris.
yeah, we're gonna get going. Have a great weekend.
Too.
Where we're living, I'm hearing we're going to be getting some snow. So
I see this as a good thing because gonna have to work from home, which means I'm working from home. It's probably easier for us to do a show. So
yeah. So in any case, no matter where you are in the country with the weather coming in all over the weekend, just be safe. It seems like there's some storms coming into parts of the country that maybe aren't used to it. And then at the same time, we're going to get more than we've gotten in a little while if it all comes to pass. So I think it's been a while since this amount of snow, but we'll see. We're going to find out.
Cool.
So like I said, everybody stay warm, stay safe, enjoy .NET. And if you like what we're doing, please let us know in the comments, hit the like button. If there's, things that you've done with these APIs and you want to share your thoughts, please let us know. We're learning from you as well. And, people give us ideas about what to cover, and believe me, they're on the list and we're heading to them. So for Rich, I'm Chris, and we will see you all next time on the Dev Talk Show.